It's not Essential Mathematics by Rajaa Issa, but actually going into her C script. And I just wanted to show a piece that was produced by this very simple C script, which I just altered a little bit and got running in Grasshopper. And it comes from the second example on this page. So you're not even like 10 or 12 pages in and you're pulling and learning how to write some very simple forms. And I actually I'm starting to take print to the output so you can actually see a statement. So I've got Rajaa Issa's got iteration and then the number figured out. And I'll show you what that does. So there's the script itself. You don't have to bother about all these other things right now. You can learn that if you want to learn about C. And you can learn this, which I would recommend going in and probably getting the Head First C# book, and then this will all start to make sense to you. But for Grasshopper and C, you can just get right in here and get right into this methods line, I guess it's called. I have to remember what it's referred to. But get past all that other stuff, which she breaks down, and get right into this section. So that said, here's my little head. I'm going to close that, and you've seen the script, and every time I close it, it seems to do some funny business. And I'm going to take my turntable off, and I've got a little bit of EMAP on and a little bit of curvature analysis on here, which is kind of fun. And what I've done is generated a very simple form from data. So let's jump into the Grasshopper script and see what's going on. I did what she did. She basically took a C component, which is what I just showed scripted, and brought in a series. And I brought it in through a start of 100 and a step of 10 and a count of 10. I jittered those values and actually decided to input A and B. And then you can go back to that script and see what I did for A and B, A being 10% of multiplied by, or 10% of x plus y, and then b was just x minus y. And as soon as I do a little bit of maths like that, I start to go in and say, okay, what's that data look like? Well, this data looks like it's always below 2.0. So I thought that would be a great pi rotation on something. And I thought these numbers, why I brought it down to 10%, would be great data to bring in on all different levels. And of course, I'm generating the print. Rajaa Issa's got all those iterations figured out, so you can actually see how your script's running. I also got the series, and you'll see how the series runs through the values of jittering them and shakes them up a little bit. So you could actually really jazz this up by taking a jitter value of, I believe jitter goes from 0 to 1, so you can just take a 1.00. That's a full jitter. You can pop that in there, and you can also seed this totally differently. So if you want to get a lot of power of this, grab a seed and throw it in, and then you can hold that to the same style of whatever you wanted to do. Right now, I'm not sure what that looks like. There it is. It's all jittered off, and you can see what the rendering did. So let's just go to visibility and do-si-do, get rid of that, and you'll see you've got a lot of nice control over this really crazy form that generates a pretty interesting piece of, I guess, jewelry, which is what I tend to do a lot of the times now. What I did was grab that data and then just start playing with it. I did my typical, I grabbed some spheres, and I basically wanted to generate them all at different sizes using the data. I wanted to move that data, so I moved it over here. I wanted to grab a rotation, and what I did on a rotation, which was kind of nice, was the rotation I actually controlled by an index number, which is pretty cool coming out of the B. So I can actually go in and I can jitter and randomize like that. So I get a kind of optimization tool, gene pool, as it takes a minute to roll. I think it actually did it. Let me go in here and do another one randomized. There we go. You get in a whole bunch of different patterns as you do this. And I kind of want it to be a little more exciting like that. After that rotation, I just did a NURBS curve running through it, so I could kind of think of wiring these together. And of course, you could pull these into the Z direction to really make them exciting. And I threw in a little bit of a variable pipe that would make it exciting and play with other graphs. So when you start to figure this stuff out, I've just exploded my tree. So I've got my pearls and I've got my form. And then in the end, I go back into visibility on, and there you go. You get a nice little form that I can leave Grasshopper script like that, I think like that, and you've got a nice little generation. Not so happy with that one, so let's just get rid of that one, and let's go in here and bake this one, which might be a little nicer. We'll bake all those together, and we'll also bake our, and we'll take that tool and probably throw that to an analysis of, I like that EMAP. There you go, it's just got to render through the technical drawings. There we go. And then we'll grab the little wire, which you can throw into a NURBS curve also, which I thought was nice. taking the nodes curve. And you can also analyze your script by coming back down here and taking the gene pool and just reducing it to the last item in the list, the highest for the domain. And it looks pretty standard. What's nice is when you start to really play with this data and you're starting to visualize it. I think I'm getting pretty good at that in Grasshopper, and I'm having a style of what I'd like to produce. This one I'm going to go in, it's closed prep. I'm going to do quick bake, and I just get in the habit of joining, even though you don't really have to join that one. And that one I'll throw to these. Let's do something different. Throw it to the zebra analysis. Blue. That should be nice. There we go. So now I've got this pretty interesting system generated. I can leave my grasshopper, I think, like this. And there's your form zebra stripe through a kind of strange thing. You've generated this grasshopper script, which has gotten a little large. What I'm doing is just doing the exercises of Rajaa Issa through the Essential Guide to C Script, but I'm jazzing them up into what I find experimental modeling and form making. So that's it. We're on to this one. We can close that out maybe and get back into we'll get into our Rhino window. And maybe I'll just shrink that, take our Rhino up full size. My little daughter's kind of screaming. So speaking of making noise, there you go. You've got it all set for 4. Give it a second to load because it's got to process through. Oh, I've got too many emaps on. I always get a little confused. It's computing the technical data in the drawing because it's got a little bit of complexity. So there you go. And then just throw that into view all. And there you go. You've got a really nice form that you've played with. You might want to generate that. You might want to produce it, but it's a nice little piece of jewelry. Anyhow, thanks very